roses are red.
Aloha Kohala. It is 3 o'clock here on July 19th, 2023. You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. Welcome, Michál.
Aloha, Eila.
This is Intuitive Talk Story, and we are here to intuitively talk to you all.
Yes, we've got Miss Eila, and I'm Michál Anna, and we are so glad to be with you on this here in Hawaii, beautifully rainy day.
Very tropical, stormish,
yes, but
windy, rainy. Yeah,
really lowered down.
Oh, it
nice,
feels good though,
nice
doesn't
drizzle.
it? Yeah,
it's really nice. We needed the rain, so I am very grateful. My trees and plants are very happy.
I think all the trees and plants are happy.
Yeah.
And for those of you listening, if you want to call in, the number is 808-884-5657. They took the number down. Oh, no, there it is. 884-5657.
Yeah, and we would love your input, your feedback, your questions, thoughts. There's a lot going on right now. We're going to talk today about the artificial world and the natural world, or kind of the balancing of the two, let's say. What's going on out there in the realms of AI. And how are we coping with that, dealing with that, integrating that, balancing that in our lives? There's some really big stuff up right now today. There's huge stuff in the Hollywood world and the actor world around AI, because they are suggesting and proposing to eliminate quite a few jobs with AI, meaning they can now take your image and you could come in for a day's interview. Eila, do it one shot. We get your whole gig, and then I don't need you anymore for the whole rest of the movie. I can take your image, and now
and your mannerisms, maybe, and
all that, and transfer plug it in, and now I've got Eila for the entire movie. I didn't have to pay her for one day.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was reading about this morning, also about music, where they're creating music songs. In fact, the other day, Blake told me? I don't know. Somebody told me that there's poetry that's being created by AI. And, it was Blake.
And writers, too.
Yeah, so that's part of writing, right? And I think about what I put into my writing, the level of, there's the intellect part, which AI is probably better than me at, but the emotional part, it's going to be missing something, kids.
Ding, 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 ding.
So just to get started in our conversation, ding, ding, ding. If we just let this happen and not speak out and look at it as a culture, yes, we're going to be out of jobs, but it's the quality. Like when I read a book, I want to feel whatever the author was putting into that, so I can feel it. And with the arts, that's really important. An actor, you want to feel what they're putting out there, and music and how it touches us so deeply. Otherwise, what's going to happen? I don't even know what that could look like. So say some things that are up for you with this.
Well, this is definitely not a new subject. We've been watching, if you've been watching it happen and unfold for quite a while now. But we have talked a lot about how we can kind of integrate this into our intuitive, energetic realm. As we've talked a lot about the 2 versus the 3, and being in the Trinity and using the body, mind, spirit, and that what is this third thing? Well, we can bring this into this AI natural world discussion, in that you just said it. Siri's got maybe more intellect than you or I, but heart. She's no heart.
Yeah.
So she's got a 2-part system going on. Siri knows everything, and she's all omnipotent.
Right.
She's everywhere. She knows it all.
Right.
But she's got no heart. And the 3-part system is we're connected to Source.
Yes.
And Source is where life is. That's where our connection is, being humans, being human, divine human beings who can experience and feel and create with emotion and have these wide breadth of experiences through our heart.
Yeah, and as you're talking about that, what comes up for me is there have been times I went back to read something I wrote, and anyone who's created anything, I'm sure, can relate to this. And I looked at it and I said, did I write that? And I feel sometimes I'm channeling something from spirit. Now, AI is not going to be channeling a whole lot. Like, that's not,
No, but you know what's
there's no spirit stuff there.
That's right. And this is what I think is really, I mean, honestly, this is what's up right now. And when we talk about our youth, they are being bombarded with technology and with versions of mentors or things to look up to that are really an AI-based world. This stuff's been happening for quite a long time. And yeah, I really think we need to think about our relationship to AI. We've been shown all these movies for years and years. Did you see iRobot, Matrix? I mean, I was just looking myself before we started talking about 25 best like AI movies, you know, so there's a whole list, which are interesting to check out because there's some morsels. Some of them I've seen, and there's great morsels in them. One of them was Oblivion with Tom Cruise and Morgan Freeman. And that creates a very interesting concept that's very wild to ponder. I highly recommend it. And then you've got The Matrix, and you've got iRobot, which I think is one of the most very blatant ones, which told us all, hey, you probably don't want to put computer smart technology all over your house, all over everything, and let it dictate how we live. Just maybe a clue, guys. But here we are putting smart everything in our houses. We've got like, you know, I see online, you know, they got smart water meters, there's smart refrigerators, smart humidifiers, smart conditioners, smart everything.
Right, but what does that do to us?
And what
does
happens,
that make us stupid?
And what happens when I mean, it's a really just, I don't mean to be like the devil's advocate here, but well, if it's all smart and it's all connectable, doesn't that mean someone could just shut it down? Right.
Right. Where's the control over your own world with that? And, you know, I find I get frustrated sometimes with, Holly has a Tesla, and it comes with a key that's not really a key. It looks like a credit card, and we're always misplacing it. But there's an app on your phone, and you can start it with that. Well, we weren't getting a signal in our garage, so I couldn't start the car with the app. And I'm like, this isn't good. Like, what if you were off somewhere and couldn't get service?
Oh, yeah.
And you can't drive your car because you get used to not using the car, you know, what they call a key, because I become dependent on this app, and I don't really use the car a whole lot. But anyway, it just got me thinking about that concept. It's like, wow, I'm locked out of the car. I can't get in the car in my own house because my cell phone's not working in here right now.
That's pretty nuts
That's a little crazy.
Your driving is relying on your cell phone. That's really crazy. And then when you said the app, first thing I thought of when you said that, I went, oh my gosh, but doesn't that mean somebody else could just turn on the car?
Right.
Like, what if all the Teslas just turned on all at once, all over the place?
Well, you know, I could turn the car on from here. Like, she could be home, and I could go on the app and turn it on
at the house,
and she could wherever. The other thing is, it has a part of the app, and I know this is with a lot of cars now, it shows you exactly where the car is. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that doesn't feel right. That's like, well, I feel like I'm intruding on this person, on the other person driving. If I'm checking, oh, you said you were going to be here, but you're not there. That's pretty. I don't like that.
That's pretty Uncle Sam. Back to the old school terminology. And then you've got, I heard about those cars. I mean, I don't know, but.
So we're ranting a little bit, so bear with us. Go ahead.
Well, this is just interesting. And it's something to think about, because do you want someone listening to your every conversation in your vehicle? Well, if you've got your phone with you, it doesn't matter. They already are. But in the Teslas, I hear they have a pretty extensive monitoring system inside the car. So they're monitoring everything you're doing.
There's so much I don't understand about that vehicle, I have to say.
So I still drive a 2004 Toyota Tundra.
And I love the electric car. It's just how to balance this.
Okay, so that brings up another thing. These are just things what I'm doing right now is bringing up things to think about.
Ponder,
I'm not
research.
Telling you what it is or what to think. I'm just saying these are some things I'm pondering and thinking about that I think are of value. And this is a good one. It's what you just brought up, the electric car. See, us in the West, we really think we're doing the right thing with the electric car and all this go green. We're really on it and think, woohoo. But unfortunately, we are in a system that isn't real honest with us about much of anything. And there's a really great video I came across that was rather disturbing. And it's about the cobalt farming and mining being done in the Congo, which is what all these electric cars depend on. So you are literally...
It's something else. It's the other side of
it's really
something
not green.
We don't see.
It's really not green at all. In
Yeah.
fact, it's degradation at the most incredible levels.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you the video. But if you guys want to check it out, let's see. Where did I put that? I would like to tell you how to find it because I did think it was really of interest. And I think knowledge is power, and we need to know what's going on out there and not really just take it.
Yeah, and like we were talking
value.
on the phone before, I had said to you that when the smart technology came out, intuitively I felt like that was not something I wanted, and I didn't know why, because it seems like it makes your life easier if everything's connected in your house. You can close all the windows, you can open all the doors, you can turn the lights on, and yet it just didn't feel right. So for those listening, listen to your intuition about anything that we talk about. What does it feel like to you?
Yeah, we're just bringing stuff up.
Yeah.
And like I've said before, if when you hear us, it brings something up in you, it doesn't feel good. You're like, I don't like what she's saying. She's crazy. Whatever. I don't like her. I'm back to like my own philosophies, what I do with myself. Anything that anybody bothers me with, I just think of it as being myself. So it's something in me that I still haven't looked at, that this person's annoying me or bothering me, or I'm not finding resonance with them because of something they're bringing up in me that doesn't make me comfortable. So if you're able to hear that and move with that, that's cool. Yeah. And hey, so this video is called, it's by a channel called Unreported World on YouTube, and it's called Toxic Cost of Going Green. And it's about a 23-minute video, so check it out. But it's very interesting and really shows you that while we perceive we're doing the right things, in essence, the bottom line is the more we are simple, probably the better. The closer we just live to nature and live in harmony with our natural world and live with our neighbors and kind of like zone one. In permaculture, they say zone one, like take care of zone one, then 2, 3, 4, you kind of circle out. So if we all put more of attention, and this is kind of this conversation, do we want to put our attention out into this whole technological world and all these things, which are very interesting and great, but at the same time, is it putting us into more of a two-part system? And don't we want to maintain our connection to God, source, the natural world, our own creativity, our own passion? If we've got Siri and AI creating all of our movies, all of our books, all of our writings, you can plug in, say, hey, Siri, I want a house. I mean, there's apps now where you can literally tell them a green chair. You can give them the whole scape, give as much detail as you want. It will make the picture for you. So, artists, we don't have to think anymore. But if you stop thinking and stop being impassioned, you stop utilizing your creativity. If you don't use it, you lose it. Hello, remember the old days? And even think about those of us who are 40 or over. You remember what happened when we got Siri? Remember, we didn't have that before. We grew up with like directions and maps.
Yeah, big maps.
And we had to, talk to
figure
each
it
other.
out.
We had to figure it out. We had to kind of come up with critical thinking.
I remember a lot of arguing in the car over
which way are we going to go,
or who thinks it's east and who thinks it's west, and no, we have to turn right. But that is part of the negotiation and the learning of navigating. And
or you were on your bike and you're 10 and you're with your friends and somebody fell. No phone. You picked Johnny up or whoever and carried their bike, and you had to figure out how to get home in time for dark, and there wasn't anybody going to get you. You had to make decisions and figure stuff out and take care of yourself. You became we were more naturally ingrained to be reliant on our knowledge, to use our critical thinking, to activate these tools. So I don't know, those of you 40 and over, I'm just going to say, do you notice a difference in the society you live in the children and in the teens and in the capacity to navigate directions, navigate critical thinking, things that I might consider common sense? I'm going to put it out there that has declined, and that there's a reason why, because we now have things that do it for us. We used to also, I've had the, okay, actually, before I tell you that one, Eila, go.
I was going to say something while you were talking about that. The navigation's a big thing for me because I've always loved finding my way through places, and the GPS, I see how it can make me lazy.
Yeah.
You know, on our island, let's face it, it's not a huge deal. We can find our way everywhere. But when I'm on the mainland, like I was at my daughter's for 2 weeks, it's like, I know how to get from point A to point B. I used to live there, and yes, things change, and maybe I'll make a wrong turn. Like, do I want to take the chance that I won't remember rather than having Siri map it out for me, turn right here, turn left here, turn, you know? And sometimes, so anyway, it's just...
And there's a lot you miss. Like when you're listening to Siri, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm going to take it right up here. You're not looking around. Like I was just being with you while you were like, I like looking around and taking the right turn, because you're going, oh, is that the donut shop?
Right.
Is it past? Hey, what's that? I mean, it's right by that. I remember that.
Right.
Place.
But I don't remember this place. So maybe I went the wrong way.
But if Siri's telling you, you may not even notice that shop, or take a you might even not see it because you don't need to.
Right. You're just
so you don't
zoning.
pay attention.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, because you know that you'll be able to get back. Siri's going to get me back, so I don't have to pay attention.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because how many times you're like, oh, we better remember our way
oh my gosh,
we're going to have to get out of here.
Put the breadcrumbs out.
Right, and you always, and you engage your mind.
Yes.
You're engaging, which brings us to like, you're actually creating new neural pathways in your brain. So on a neurological level, we're ingraining new pathways.
Absolutely.
And we need as many opportunities to do that as we can. It's good for us. We don't want to give them all away.
No, definitely not.
Another, what I was going to share earlier was going to Africa, over the last decade and being there 7 or 8 winters has really shown me this from the other side, like where we are right now. Like they do laundry, standing up. The women wash the clothes. They don't have washing machines. They're washing it the old style with, with the washboard, and then drying the clothes, and then wringing the clothes.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how many of you have actually done that here in the West. So I want to let you know that it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah, that's very laborious.
It's very laborious to actually wash your own clothes. The wringing is probably the hardest part. Towels. Wringing towels on your own. If you don't have a friend to take it in.
Yeah, to twist it.
Yeah, that's a really intense process. Now you're going to understand why people around the world are so very strong and fit and healthy. They walk. They have to do laundry. They have to do things.
Right.
Well, what happened when we stopped doing our own laundry and we got laundry machines? Oh, well, then we sat down in front of a little box and watched images on a screen and let it feed our brain.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And then guess what? People got fat. And then they put a remote in their hands and then some chips. I mean, so like, look what happened.
Yeah.
Do we want, so the next level, now we've got AI on another level of that. Pretty soon it's Wall-E time.
Yeah.
Is that what we're looking for? Is that what we want to create? Not me. I want to create a natural world where we're seeing each other, looking eye to eye, having discourse, enjoying one another.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it shows up in many ways. So we're talking about maybe the more obvious ways, and maybe there are ways it doesn't affect each of us the same. I think most of us now have smartphones, and we use those to navigate, and we use those to ask questions, because I was remembering a time where you'd be thinking of a song. I'm a music person. I'd be thinking of a song, and I couldn't think of the title of the song. And I'd call up like at least 4 different people saying, remember that song that we used to play or sing? And it might be a 3-day process till you got the title of the song from somebody. And now you Google it with a few of the words of the song, and it pops up. It's like, gee, I kind of missed that excuse to call a friend and say, do you remember that song? Yeah, connection with other people. Yeah.
And then you brought up source, like, Siri can't replace the heart and someone's feeling. I like to go on the Netflix and just kind of see what's being programmed out into the masses these days. And there's this show that I stumbled on that's it's a dating show, and it's like a form of Siri. like
Oh my
some
gosh.
astrolab, like
Yeah.
they go into the like astrolab, and the Siri tells them, like, based on their astrology,
Yeah.
what they should be doing and how they should be dating, and they do
wow.
check-ins
Oh, wow.
with the Siri there throughout the
So
show.
it's like the Siri goddess.
Siri Goddess is
Wow.
at giving them dating advice, and they're doing this whole thing based on Siri Goddess. So this is what's going on out there right now. So this is what I mean. They're really bombarding our youth with, they're like trying to replace, I should say AI itself is trying to replace us with itself. And if you haven't noticed, there's a whole lot of new AI, new chatbots and apps that are available.
There's a lot more talk about it right now.
They're
I've noticed
learning
too.
about us. It's really,
Yeah.
we're giving it all our data, like we're
Yeah.
giving all our information. And back like to what you said, it knows how to do everything. Then it can write just like you because you put your poem in there.
Right.
So now it's got your poem.
Right.
And it's like, I could write that.
It'll write 10 more.
It'll write 10
Just
more.
a little different.
Slight difference.
Different topic.
Yeah, it'll just take all all the input we're all giving,
Yeah.
takes all that and is so brilliant, smarter, like you said, than you
Yeah.
and me for sure. Taking all that info and boom, here you
It's
go.
not going to have the grammar problems I have.
Certainly not. But this is also why we want to. It's not that, like I said, we're both here sitting here with phones. We're here in a technical room. It's not that technology
giving it all up.
is not going to be going away from our lives in this
Right.
moment. But how are we going to use it, and do we want to manage that properly, or if we're not careful, it will manage us. Bottom line. So we have to be, I think, aware of the relationship we are each creating with our technology, and become more diligent about creating human space, human heart connections,
Yeah.
about creating face-to-face interactions, about being in the earth. Luckily for us, we live here in a small town that, where we
Yeah.
do a lot of that. Luckily my life is not steeped in much of that. I
Yeah.
do use these things, but my daily life is more on the earth than in the computer.
I think as you're saying that, I think one of the times that may have propelled a lot of people into the computer more than ever was during the pandemic, where people were isolated, and that became their lifeline to any contact. People who were alone, people who were in apartments, and a lot of people were on YouTube and Facebook and making
Zoom.
videos and Zoom and it's easy to kind of fall into that. But for those of us who, living where we live, where it's nature focused and beautiful, and we have a fabulous community and people really look out for each other and interact, maybe it's a little easier for us to get away from it. But I think of people who maybe not much changed for them, and they may, and a lot of people started working remotely. Not a bad idea to be able to be at home with family and stuff. On the other side, you're not interacting. I could never work remotely and not have people to interact with. Like, in the office where you're like, oh, is it hot in here or is it me?
Yeah, totally. And what you're talking about, kind of like, I feel back that macro, micro. It's like
Yeah.
when we look inside of it right here, we sit and we're like, yeah, that's kind of crazy. Look at us. We're in the, but if we go a bigger view, we go, well, maybe it was engineered that way.
Yeah.
It might have been by design to get everybody to get stuck inside and have to get dependent on these things.
Right.
And get a little more on the teat on a lot of levels,
Yeah.
which this kind of gets into more things, just things for you to think about, maybe research yourself. It's a lot going on. Currency, big one. Hawaii, I believe, is one of 2 states who has just agreed or is agreeing or possibly on the table for, I'm not going to say because I don't know specifically, about the digital currency. And this is a big deal and something we all need to look into. And honestly,
Keep the cash going.
I'm not into it. So keep cash. We all should, we got to pay attention, I think, maybe a little more to what's going on, because we all do enjoy our own realities and
Yes.
love being in our own journeys. But as a whole, we as people need to decide what direction our societies are going to move in. And if we aren't consciously making decisions and choosing together, someone's going to choose for us.
Yeah, well, and I think what you said, whether it's about the currency, about the AI, my hope is in our conversations, people feel inspired to think about what world they want to live in. Maybe you know the world you live in right now. What would you like it to be going forward? Because we do create our own reality, and through our intentions and through our thoughts and through what we write down that we want to experience, all that helps to manifest the world that we want to live in. And it starts, right with each of us. So I haven't really thought a whole lot about the whole money thing, but now that I have a store, it's like cash is king. So when somebody says, because there's so many fees attached to using the going digital, it's convenient. People put their watch up to my machine and they've paid for their items. But there's something about the cash feeling like it's more of an exchange.
It's direct.
Yeah.
It's just a direct exchange.
Yeah, it's there.
There's no third party. And that kind of gets back into what we were saying about siphoning energy. If everything's a power game, it's just, we don't need a broker to do our transaction. I want to buy this crystal from you. I don't need a third party involved. He gets a cut too now? What's going on with that? Like a direct sale.
Yeah. It definitely makes it a little bit more real, I think, for me. Yeah.
And what you're saying is correct. I mean, what I want to convene with is that correct about creating our vibrational reality. So we want to know about this stuff.
Yeah.
And then we want to put our attention where we want to create it. So we go, oh boy, if we're not consciously creating, it's just kind of unconsciously unraveling for all of us. So if we go, wait a minute, this is kind of why we're bringing it up. Like, let's take a look at the reins. What are we doing? How are we navigating? Is this the direction we want to go? And let's really put our mind's eye to what we want and see ourselves communing with our neighbors, having fresh farmed food that we're growing, which is what I really believe most of the people that we live near are really navigating and focusing on is creating a better tomorrow. And
yes, and people listen to this show from other parts of the country and world, so they may have a very different reality they're living in.
Exactly. Right? So there's all different scopes of that. Wherever you're at in that place, we can all just do our part to see a reality where we're moving in harmony and peace, and we're having heartfelt connections. We're being authentic with one another. And I think for the most part, the biggest thing is just that most people actually are good people. And we really do want to help one another, and believing in that reality versus this very horrific reality where you think everyone's against each other, everyone's horrible, and the world's falling apart, because I think that's not really the truth.
Yeah. Well, let's take a station break, and we will come back with some more intuitive talk story in just a minute.
Hey, Bill, so what you doing on July 27th? Got any plans?
It's just a normal day at the ranch. What's happening on the 27th, Dave?
Oh, then you should come to this Ag Visioning 2.0 community shareback event. We're going to be sharing the ideas that we gathered from the community from the first Ag Visioning event back in March, and then ask anyone if they got any more ideas.
That sounds great. I think I can make it. So where's this going to be and what time is it, Dave?
It's going to be at Kohala Resilient Hub in Hawaii. It starts at 4:30 and ends at 6:30. And got a lot of good food.
I'll be there for the food, but more importantly, I'm coming and bringing some good ideas with me.
Yes, vision plus action can change the world. And we're going to change it in Kohala.
Right on, Dave. I'll see you there at the barn at 4:30, July 27th.
Come join us.
Great Goddess, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you.
Aloha Kohala. This is Eila Allgood of Women's Voices. Change is in the air. Women's Voices will now be once a week, every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. I hope you can tune in to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala and listen to sensational songs by female artists from right here in Kohala and around the world.
protecting me. I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am.
The North Hawaii Public Library will be hosting a talk story about the ancient Hawaiian lunar calendar, Monday, July 24th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Come talk story. Explore the ancient Hawaiian lunar calendar and use journaling to learn about your Vahipana or special celebrated place. The evening will be presented by Tumunale Aloha, hula consult and teacher of Hawaiian language and culture. That's Monday, July 24th from 5:30 to 6:30 at the North Hawaii Public Library. Masks are requested. Mahalo.
Welcome back to Intuitive Talk Story with Eila Allgood and
Michál Anna.
we are, it's 3:31 here, July 19th, 2023 on KNKR, and we are talking about AI, and now we're kind of going to move into the what positive things we can do and tools we can use and blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, so the natural world is kind of like where we want to resonate, and some things that we can do to balance or maybe protect ourselves or just be in awareness. If you use things like EMF protectors in your phones, I have a case on mine that I really like, and I can really feel the difference if it's not in the case. So things like that, putting your phone outside of your room when you're sleeping, or turning off your Wi-Fi.
Turning off the Wi-Fi is really important to me.
And there's there's a lot. It depends on your sensitivities, but honestly, I mean, I know we both know people that literally turn off everything and don't have Wi-Fi anywhere near anything in their home. Or there's other people who have Wi-Fi everywhere. So, you know, it's a toss-up. But there's some things that are really clear, like they've done some Bluetooth studies, like the earbuds.
Yeah.
Guys out there, I'm going to encourage everyone to stop using the earbuds in your ear. Use a corded headphone or speak on a speaker.
Just less EMFs.
They measured it, actually. It's really disturbing to see what it does to your brain. It lights the whole brain up red, and, you know, or you need to use an EMF protector, which a lot of people are creating. So if you are like, no, I have to use those earbuds, then be proactive and do something to defend and protect yourself while utilizing what you're using. So just, I think, us understanding what we're engaging with is, you know, that what it's kind of like, you don't go on it's just the ocean, you know, just go out there and surf. It's silly. You better know what you're dealing with. It's the same with what we're dealing with here with this computer stuff. You need to know what it is so that you can engage with it properly. And so that also goes back to tools we brought up before, seeing things in energetic bubbles, knowing that you're opening up a dimension when you get on our computers, these places people are living in there. AI is like creating itself. It's creating things. It's trying to find out stuff. You're dealing with a real energy here. Right. So this is not just, it's just a computer. We've got to get over this, that's just a movie. At this point, all that's got to go out the window, and we've got to realize that we're learning from everything around us. Most of the movies you've seen have inputs of some truth that's being told to you to instigate and learn something, but it's whether or not we picked it up. Did we get the memo or not? Right. And they're so subtle sometimes.
And sometimes they are. Yeah. Yeah, and I think for me, boundaries are really important. Boundaries around electronics, boundaries around how they're used, when they're used in your own life. And I think I have to set it first with me before I can ask anything of anyone else. I've observed, I remember a few years ago observing a family down in Kauai at the ice cream store, and both parents were on their phones while their kids were two 7 and 9 year old kids were eating their ice cream. And I thought, they are just missing. Like, my kids are grown up now. I do know how fast it goes. It's like, you're missing this opportunity. You're away they were definitely vacationers. You're away on vacation. This is the time to connect. So maybe I'm judging, but I use that as an opportunity to decide how do I want to set boundaries around using using.
I don't think
that.
you're judging, but I don't want to stop you on the judging because I don't think you're judging to make an observation
It was an observation, and I
then
did
make
feel
a
empathetic.
discernment and a discernment about how you would like to
Yeah.
live your own life. You're not telling someone how they should live their life. You just seeing that that's not really works for me, and but I feel a lot of empathy for that situation. So that feels like a lot of compassion.
I had a
And
lot of empathy for the kids.
that
I
feels
just,
like a
yeah.
neutrality. Observation, discernment, and judgment are really good words to discern.
Yes, and the phone too. Like sometimes people get annoyed with me because I don't get back to them within an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, and it's because I'm just not that attached to checking it. Unless somebody is in crisis, then I'm going to check it because I want to make sure I'm there if they need me. But aside from that, I just don't have that desire to be so attached.
And for me, actually, COVID did the kind of the opposite. I have utilized Zoom and those YouTube more for
Yeah.
sure. But on the other side of that, I put the phone down more because I don't feel as much pressure on the calendar, on the making. I have not scheduled. I did not go back into scheduling myself at the rate that I would
Yeah.
be in the previously. I was definitely had a really full plate, running around, doing a lot of things, traveling, teaching, going everywhere. And I don't fill my schedule at that brim anymore. I create way more space, way more time for myself. I have luxurious morning routines that I allow myself to have because it makes everything else better.
Yeah.
So I, on the other hand, put my phone down too, and I don't turn on the ringers. It's
Yes.
off most of the time.
I know.
Like,
I put it on airplane mode to meditate in the morning,
And
and
then you
sometimes I
forget.
forget to turn it back on for 4 hours. It's like, oh, I hope no one was really needing me, and usually there's no emergencies. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's creating a relationship. Like, again, everything is about balance and about us just not swinging too far on the pendulum anyway. It's kind of everything is the middle way. The Buddhists call it the middle path. But just being in, I call it unity, being in oneness with Source, Christ light, however you want to describe that for yourself. But being in harmony means to feel good. It means that we feel in balance with our masculine and feminine energy, which we all have, by the way, which is also up out there, really huge conversations. But in the realms of, information, I just want to speak that we are all amazing, divine human beings that have a sacred feminine side, a sacred masculine side. And here in this earth thing, we get to learn about them both and balance it within ourself to become a whole human soul who's activating source, love, light, energy. So may we just continue to deepen into our own hearts and our own heart experience of the earth and use what we're given wisely and allow nothing to have power over us on any level, and for us to always have full authority of our own vessels.
that's a beautiful prayer. Thank you. Kind of to add on to that is, I've noticed in talking to people that come into my place that there's really this hunger to connect deeply. There's such a desire when people walk in and they say, "Oh, I feel so relaxed in here," or "It smells good," or whatever. It's like they've opened, they've decided to be open, and then conversation happens, and it's deeper. It's deeper than I've had with friends over my life. They may come in and say, "Oh, I could really use like a stone because I haven't been feeling well and I need some healing." And like, who tells strangers that? But they come in and they'll say that. And then we have a conversation. It's like, "Oh, can you tell me more? What would you like to say about it? What are you looking for?" And they want to share. I think we're humans. We really want to share deeply. We really want to share the high, beautiful, exciting moments, as well as, I am in a really dark place today. I need help.
Totally. And as you're talking, I guess I'm realizing another part of why I'm so intense for most people. Because since I've been 24, I've been a therapist. So I spend 6 to 8 hours a day in the deepest moments with people, with them
With
having
the body work and the energy field.
and all of it, because
Yeah.
people come naked
Yeah.
and tell
Yes.
you their deepest things. We're there to heal and do your deep work with me today. We're not here to like have tea. We're here to get there. And so, I've worked I was a therapist at the hotels at one point for many years. I worked 8 years at the Fairmont, Orchid, and thousands of bodies. And, you have CEOs, you have famous people,
Yeah.
people of power, but I don't care who you are when you're naked in a robe on my table. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm not seeing the same guy as you are at
Yes.
dinner. That's not the
Yes.
same person I get to hang out with. I'm hanging out with them completely unhindered because I don't ask you who you are. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. It doesn't really matter. What matters is, who are you? What's
Yeah.
your soul experiencing?
Yeah.
Where are you hurting?
What do you need
What
today?
do you need? Like,
Yeah.
what are you holding on to? That's
Yeah.
what we want to address. I don't care about any of that other stuff.
Yeah.
So I inherently have spent most of my waking hours in depth. And
Yes.
so I will go to a party or go somewhere, or maybe if you've met me out in town, and maybe I've been way too truthful for you, and maybe I've said something way too deep, because I'm not really good at small talk,
Yeah.
because I really resonate in deep places all the time. And at this point, those places, 6 to 8 hours a day, has become even deeper. I mean, I'm seeing your grandfather, your auntie, I'm seeing all sorts of things
Right.
that you probably don't even see. So
You mean when you work
we're
with
doing in
someone,
session.
you may have their ancestors there with them.
Yeah. Yes, we might be pulling
Yeah.
up a lot of things, wounds, past lives. I'm seeing the whole story. I'm seeing it. I'm experiencing.
You're
those
you're
things.
in there with them.
Yeah, I actually seeing all that. I'm like
Yeah.
seeing, you're wounding. I see the wires that are connected. I see, that's your second chakra that's activating. Oh, that's because you're not feeling good enough. I can see all those things.
Yeah.
So you can imagine. I turn it off to a degree. Obviously, you're not doing that all the time. You're
Right.
not opening sacred
Right,
space
sometimes you
at a dinner
just-
party.
right,
But
right.
some things, but at the same time, things are really, if I'm seeing past lives, you can imagine that something more superficial is pretty easy to see, and probably for me kind of normal, because like you said, people don't talk. Who says you said when you said we're talking about the girl coming in for the crystal and
Yeah.
giving you this deep moment, and you go, I mean, who talks like that? I'm thinking, who doesn't?
Yeah.
So
Right.
there's, for me, it's
Right.
the opposite. And so I'm like, oh, right. People don't do that. My mother, even when she arrived and lived with me here, here, she's here now, back home, and in her own place. But she was staying with us for a while she was building her little casita. And I said something just truthful. She's my mom. And I said something true. We're just at the kitchen. I just said something like, oh, well, that's because of blah, blah, and, something, something. And she just was, oh, Michál, people don't talk like that. They're not that honest. And I went,
Wow.
I'm sorry. You know what? This is why I'm always getting in trouble.
Well, and it comes back to the different realities, and you're in the reality you want to be in. I'm in the reality I want to be in. And there's really no
There's no right
compromise
way.
to that either.
No, it's just understanding why we are the way we are,
Yes.
what we do. Or like, oh, maybe that's why. Well, you can imagine if someone's it's just good to, to get out of your own frame, because for instance, it's easier to understand maybe from you to understand me, let's say.
Yeah.
When I tell you that story.
Yes.
Because then you're like, oh, no wonder she's so intense.
That's why stories are so helpful, because it gives us a bigger picture of one aspect of a person, Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we start making judgments, or we
make
think
up our own story.
Yeah, we make up our own story, which is probably wrong.
Most of the time, boy, I've
Inaccurate.
been experiencing a lot of those out there of perceptions that, can steer us the wrong way. It is fascinating, though, because back to we're all experiencing our own movie. We are. And sometimes it's so obvious, back to remembering projections and reflections. We're reflecting and projecting one another.
Yeah.
All the time. And so that's why, these things of getting clear with the natural world, AI, what are we perceiving? What am I discerning? Where am I putting my energy? Is a really good thing for us to ponder.
Well, and just what you were talking about, the work that you do, as we are talking about AI, there is something that AI could never do. even if you could, like, I know people have like massage chairs because they want to have that experience every day. But there's nothing like someone tuning into your body and knowing where the knots are, what needs to be released, and whatever. On top of that, you're connecting with spirit and getting messages and guidance and information that you can convey or just use with that person that you're working with. So as we're all thinking about AI and what it is and where it can take us, realizing what things it can never do, and do we want to give any of that up? I don't think so.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's the kind of the point, is our human heart is valuable. Being human is valuable. Our connection to source is valuable. And we don't want to disconnect that. We don't want
No.
we don't want to be cut off from source and from our natural world. And we want to make decisions that support natural life and support connection.
I went to see homeopathic doctor that I first went to when I was 30 years old, back in New York. He's still there. And the last time I went in to see him, and he has helped me through homeopathy heal all kinds of stuff. I went to see him, and now we just kind of talk more than, doctor-patient experience. And I told him everything that was going on, and he turned around to his computer. He'd never done this before. And he's like, hold on a minute. And he starts plugging in my information into like it was like a, what do you call that? A graph or a flow chart or something. And I just got it now. That was like 2 years ago. It really didn't work for me, because one of the things I loved about working with this guy, who's very smart, and he would sit and he would write down everything, and he'd just like go off, and then he'd write more down, and he'd say, well, tell me more about this and tell me more. But in this session that I had with him, he was more connected to the computer than he was to me. Mm-hmm. He was even facing the computer and then would turn to talk to me. Mm-hmm. And one of the big things about homeopathy is you look at the body language, you listen for the emotions, not just what they tell you, what they're not telling you, their behavior, maybe where their eyes are looking. And he couldn't do that because he was looking at the computer.
Ooh, that's such a good story.
Yeah.
And so that kind of brings me into what we're talking about critical thinking and back to that, and utilizing the right left brain, making neural connections, because I think we have pushed our society into a really left brain society.
Yeah.
And it's really become very mechanical, which is in alignment to receiving AI. See, it's kind of like boiling the frog. As a society, you boil the frog, they took the arts out, you take the this out, you just get them to go more and more into their right brain, their left brain, and then they don't notice when everything just gets taken away, and sooner or later they have no soul. That's kind of where it's headed. You know, if for those choosing to really navigate that path, I'm going to plant two thoughts. One, so I went to a chiropractor. You're talking about your
the homeopath.
Homeopath. Yeah. I was in Alaska a few years back, and I needed an adjustment, and I was called someone right in this town, and they wanted all my records, blah, blah, blah. And I called my chiropractor, who's like your guy, you know, just writes everything down. He's got sheets from 20 years of working
exactly,
with me,
notebooks and
little
stuff.
tiny writing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't have anything to give him. I mean, I'll just tell him, you're good. He's like, there's nothing to give. I'll talk to him. He's like, let me call him.
Yeah.
But so it was a kind of a rigmarole, just that alone. When I get there, they have tons of paperwork. And I know I'm a therapist.
Yeah,
I work on
you know
people.
your body.
I know what this is. I could do it to myself. I just can't, because
I can't physically do it.
Yeah, exactly. So I know exactly what's going on. And if you would talk with me, I'd be happy to tell you. But they spent, not kidding, like 15, 20 minutes just asking me questions off the paper. And I said, I really know what's happening. Could I just talk with you? She kept saying, let's just get through this. Let me go back. Let me go down the list first.
Yeah. They have to do their...
redirecting me to this very mechanical viewpoint, which is of no value to what I needed, actually. I'm not going to be your client or patient.
Right. I'm not coming back tomorrow.
I'm never coming back.
Right.
I am only here today.
Yeah.
This is of no value. So, she couldn't see that or separate it. She was so attached.
She was really attached to it.
that way because she'd been trained to do it this way.
Right.
Well, I'm trained to do it like this. I just need to keep going the way I'm at, which really you get to see how that's a very scary place to be. When we can't be flexible or create like observation to tune in and say, this isn't going to really work for this situation. Let
Right.
me use something else.
Right.
To be able to kind of directly connect to someone, which is what you were just saying.
Right.
I'm reading the room, whether
Yes.
it's DJing, whether it's healing, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a lawyer, you're reading the room.
Read the room.
You're reading the room, you're feeling the people, you're feeling what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, AI's not doing that. The computer's not doing that. And we're not doing that when we're stuck in our left brain like that. We're not reading the room.
That
And
it has to be done this way because it's always been done this way.
that's right. We're
Right.
becoming attached and stuck on some very linear concept, which is, in essence, what AI offers us because AI doesn't have access to the heart brain. And so that's what it is. We've literally, as humanity, we've been getting primed for the entrance of AI by loosening and lessening the connection of people's heart brains through society. So you can take a look at that and see like, whoa, look at that. And how much we want to, and on the other side of that, there are those of us, there are many of us, who are really choosing to ignite the heart-brain connection, who are focused on the heart-brain connection, and who have been dedicated and are dedicating more, and more people waking up to this heart-brain connection and having more coherence in your heart-brain, opening up to greater awareness, consciousness, reading the room, being in tune with what's around you, and feeling into your vibratory reality, realizing that you're creating it with your feelings, with what you're putting your energy and your attention at all times.
Right. And I think being we're getting near the end of the show, I do think it's important to look at what you're saying, which is creating the world that we want. We want to, think about those of you who are listening, think about what, not just the AI part, but the sensitivity, the emotional, like what kind of emotional connections do you want? What kind of depth do you want to experience in your life? Where do you see spirit in your life? Do you even see spirit in your life? And making very conscious decisions rather than kind of haphazardly moving through. Keep in touch with your inner self, your soul, your spirit, and decide, hey, yeah, I want this. I want more of this in my life. I don't.
Kind of like as simple as what you were talking about, the parents with the ice cream.
Yeah.
It's a little black box. I choose what I do with it.
Right,
put
just
it
change
down.
it.
Just put it down.
Yeah.
And then hey kids, engage. How's your ice cream? It's kind of as simple as that. Like we took that
It's so
one
simple.
little story.
That little
and
vignette.
And we just take and we put the phones in the pocket. And now they're having this beautiful family moment and they're connecting.
And they're laughing and
Yeah.
they're whatever.
And they're
yes.
loving it,
And they're
and-
tasting each other's ice cream
Yeah.
and being silly.
And that's what we
Yeah.
get to create because we decide with where we put our energy. It's up to us. No one's crafting this for us. We're crafting it with our minds or our lack of creation.
Yeah.
It's that the lack of creation crafts it for us versus our creation. So we want to be in charge of what we're creating and create these vignettes of ice cream and fun, connection.
One of the things that I've read about recently is the AI in cars so that there's self-driving vehicles.
Right.
And I was 15 when I got my learner's permit because I could not wait to have a license and be free.
Yeah.
I equated car with
Me too.
freedom. Even though it was my parents' car and I had to ask to borrow it or whatever, but
I bought my own car.
that
first
was good for you. That was very, very important, and it's been important throughout my life. Like when I travel, I could do public transit, and then there's a point where I need like some control. And when I think about AI driving my
you around.
car, I'm like, that is just not something that I ever.
back to feeling and reading the room. I mean, the
Yeah.
AI can't read the room and you're going to drive
Right.
back to that, right?
Right. Even if it can see the animal on the side of the road, even if it can do a lot of things, there's certain intuitions that happen when you drive that you feel like I better slow down, and then maybe there's a cop, or maybe there's somebody hurt on the side of the road, or maybe there's something in the road. And if you don't have that intuition, you're not going to be able to do that.
Right. And if you're, I mean, right now, and when you were saying that, I was kind of thinking, whoa, but this whole mechanical thing we just described, I'm saying like, well, gosh, if you're if people who are really accessing and just sitting in that side of the brain, that left brain, and you're feeling a linear and it's kind of this boil the frog thing, well, the body starts to not be able to run the energy to get the intuition.
Yes.
So that goes into the body's part, what we talk about a lot, which is health.
Yeah.
So, because the other thing is that's going into our food, which is, again goes back to kind of AI, which is they're breaking down plastics, for instance, and trying to make them into protein powders, distilling the plastic to its base qualities, its chemical compounds like magnesium, potassium, chloride, and then restructuring it into a protein powder that you could feed the humans. So if you're feeding the humans reconstituted plastic, that it also is giving the body template a template to be more in alignment with artificial intelligence and artificial life. So if we're not feeding our bodies real food, and we're not giving ourselves real things, then you're actually priming your body to be a vessel of AI. So where do you want to be on the spectrum? Are you want to be in the AI world? Do we want to integrate? Because really, we all have two choices right now. We can either integrate because the food, the way we live, blah, 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 blah. Integrate like with the computer world, or you integrate with the natural world. So we want to use the computer world and be the ones navigating that, but really be living in the natural world. And so we need to eat natural foods. At this point in the game, it really does seem that there's a lot of toxins and chemicals going into our food in every single level. I highly suggest eating real food, not shopping in the center of any supermarket, reading every box. They're putting insect parts in foods. They're putting a lot of chemical composites, citric acids. Those things are all
things we don't even know what they are.
You don't even know what they're doing to us.
But if you go to the vegetables and you go to the fruits, and when you can get local and organic, get it.
Yes. Almost always, if you can, or don't shop at places like, I heard Target, for instance. This is interesting to know. There's a company called apeel.com.
I heard about that.
Yeah, and it's a company that creates a quote unquote organic peel over the fruit so it will stay longer in the stores. But this organic quote unquote peel is edible. You do not distinguish the difference between the apple and the peel that they've put over it, which is made from some compounds. I think it may even be a Gates Foundation project, and they aren't saying what's in it. So these are things to really be aware of nowadays, unfortunately. But we want to have vessels that are tuned to the natural world, that are can run source crystic light. And we want our pineal glands and pituitary glands to fire and to be opening. And in order for that to happen, we need clear vessels. So we want to give it good, healthy foods, fruits, vegetables, no fluoride. Fluoride is calcifying our pineal gland. Please look it up if you're like, oh, she's crazy. Look it up. Look it up.
Just do some research.
Check it out.
The computer is useful for certain things.
Yeah, I mean, you got a computer.
Yeah, and I want to say that in the past week, I kind of went off the deep end with a lot of the foods I was eating. And in the past week, I've totally cleaned things up and gotten back to the program that works for me. And
did you feel a difference?
In 2 days, I felt better. But now it's been a week. And one of the positive side effects of the way I eat is there's a certain sense of freedom, because I don't focus on food all day. I eat a meal, I do my life. I eat a meal, I do my life. And what I was doing was snacking in between. I don't care if they're healthy snacks. For me, it takes my mind focused on food instead of life in a way that doesn't serve me.
Right.
This is those of us who struggle with food addictions.
You had a relationship with food.
Yeah.
Sure.
And in this past week, it's like, oh my God, this is so clearly so much better. I feel so much, my mind is clearer, my body is happier, my emotions are more like even keel. Not that I don't feel, I do feel, but they're not so extreme. And I'm not having like arguments in my head over things. So those of you out there, do what you can to clean up your food, whatever it is. And if it's clean, high five.
One thing Eila said that just shined out was, she said, I'm not having arguments in my head, which leads me to believe that the toxic food she was eating was influencing her mind
Yes.
and creating disharmony in the mind. So when we eat good foods, it then creates good ease in the brain.
Yes.
Huh.
Yes.
So maybe those emotions, if you're eating a lot of sugar straight up, you're going to be emotional and probably be swinging because, sugar just makes us, it's like crack. I mean, it's literally up and down. It's an addiction.
Yeah.
It's meant to make us all addicted. So we got to get off of everything that's white, basically.